So, if you're starting to see that these cycles of constant efforting and striving and trying to prove yourself and trying to fix all the things that you think are wrong with yourself and your life, when you're starting to see that all these cycles of striving and disappointment and self condemnation, when you're starting to see that all of it is really not necessary, and really, all you need to do is see through the layers to see through the distortions that have obscured the perfection that you are and the perfection that is available to you in every moment. When you're starting to come to this moment of realization, and I wouldn't say it's one singular moment like a bolt of lightning strikes you, like they like to portray sometimes, right? You know, the voice of God booming down from the clouds. It's not usually as dramatic as that, at least in my experience, but I see it more as a gradual awareness, a gradual dawning of awareness. And as more and more layers get melted away, you're able to see this perfection more and more clearly. But as you're starting to step into that awareness, sometimes it can seem like a little bit too good to be true. And you start to think, well, maybe this is just another pipe dream, or maybe this is just another one of those videos or courses where they promise it'll be super easy, 6 figures in 6 days, give me 6 minutes of your time, and I promise to change your life forever, and then you'll never have to watch a video again, and then the algorithm starts bringing up more videos with similar titles, and you can't help watching them. And obviously, it just keeps going and going. And so yeah, I think part of the reason that we kind of tend to slip in and out of these moments of awareness is because if you're accustomed to believing one thing for most of your life, and it's not even really like you believe it, it's just like your skin or the air that you breathe or the sun rising and setting each day. It's such a normal, it's become so normal and so familiar that you don't even question it. And so when anything comes up that challenges this paradigm, it's natural to be a little bit skeptical. And so I found with myself, when I first started reading A Course in Miracles a few years ago, maybe it was a couple of years ago, time is a little bit slippery for me at this point, but when I started reading it, I could immediately see the truth in it. And I've had similar moments when I've encountered other spiritual teachings that talk about the power of presence and really these kind of I would call them like non-dual teachings that really get you to see the awareness underneath all of these changing forms, all of the changing appearances, the thoughts, the feelings, the conditions, your body, everything else that is really just temporary. And so, yeah, so the teachings of Lesterlevenson. And so I would encounter these teachings and I would feel not just intellectually know, but I would actually experientially feel the truth behind these teachings. Yet there would always be something inside of me saying, you don't have time for this right now. You need to go and do something practical. And then maybe someday when everything else in your life is worked out, then you can come back to this other stuff. And when really those teachings were exactly what I needed. And I suspect if you're going through the same cycles that I described, the seeking, the striving, the hope, the disappointment, and even when you do achieve your goals, it never quite feels like enough, then I would suggest trying a different approach, even if it seems like a little bit crazy, or even if you're wondering, well, what exactly am I going to get from this? And it's so funny because I was actually, years ago, I was doing a meditation that was based on Lester Levenson's teachings, and it was all about resting in the now moment. And it's almost like the person doing the meditation was reading my mind, and probably a lot of other people too, because he said, if you're stop, looking for something within this now moment, right? Stop looking, for like that bolt of inspiration, or, oh, I'm going to complete this meditation and then I'll look at my bank account and suddenly my bank account will have dramatically increased. He says, that just see, this moment for what it is. And that was so difficult for me to do at that time. I felt so much resistance and even frustration with it. And I guess it was just kind of looking in those other boxes, kind of like looking for a treasure, looking in a box thinking that you're going to find some sort of treasure in there, and then time and time again the box is empty. And after enough times you finally decide, okay, well, obviously I have nothing to lose by by trying this other approach, by just resting in that awareness, and again just removing any sort of labels and conditions that we placed on this life experience, saying it has to be this way or it has to be that way. And just to temporarily, at least for a moment, and that's another thing they used to say in these meditations based on Lester's teachings, that if if you find yourself struggling to get through it, thinking about all the things you have to do, or wondering, how is this going to benefit me, just give it until the end of the meditation. And then you can go back to thinking all those worried thoughts or going back into the seeking, striving, doing mode. And I think that really helps. And just kind of giving yourself that grace and saying, okay, this doesn't have to be forever. And if I slip back into the other way of thinking, it doesn't mean that I permanently failed. That's just part of the human experience. And that's another part that I want to bring into this, because I feel like that's a part that's really not addressed a lot. It's kind of like I feel like a lot of times it's either or. It's either focused on the human experience side of it, or, the efforting, the striving, the practical steps, and how to deal with your conditions, how to deal with your thoughts and feelings. Or it's kind of just dealing with the other side and not really talking about the human experience side of it. And I really say the quote, "I am a divine being having a human experience," that has really helped me. It's really helped me to integrate both sides of the equation. Another one is the Father and I are one, but the Father is greater than I. So in other words, me as my identity as the person who is making this video right now, I am always one with this divine presence, with God, with the Father, with Source. We're always one, we're always integrated. There's more to this experience than any single thing that I can be perceiving at any single time, but at the same time, there's so much more than this. And that has really helped me so much, just knowing that there's so much more than this. And that's a good thing, because if you were to open all your presents all at once, life would be very boring. And so instead, we get to have the presents doled out little by little. Kind of like with my mom's puppy. She has this box full of treats and another box full of toys, but I don't give them to her all at once. I kind of give them out little by little, so each one can be a special surprise. And then when she gets tired of one, I can introduce a new toy or a new treat. And then going back to, well, I don't know if I brought up the movie analogy in this video. I know I talk about it a lot. So thinking again of your life being like a movie. And so if we went to go see a movie and it said, I am all that is, there's nothing more to strive for, there's nothing more to be, there's nothing more to prove, the end. Like it would be a very boring movie, right? And so I think it's admitting, not in a shaming or a judgmental way, but just admitting that there is a part of us that enjoys the efforting and the striving and the drama. And think about soap operas. And so think about the characters in a soap opera. And here are these people that have the seemingly perfect life. And they're incredibly good looking, usually very rich. They live in beautiful homes, but yet their life just seems to be filled with drama and filled with endless problems. And same thing with one of my favorite shows, Two and a Half Men, where it's these two bachelors that are living in a beach house in Malibu. They have no real concerns about, paying the bills or anything like that. And it very much seems to be like a perfect life. And they're always, dating beautiful women. But yet it seems like there's constantly problems and like constant, like absurd debacles on just about every episode. And and so problems that we kind of far exceed just an ordinary person that goes to a job and pays their bills and all that. And so I think this is just very much a metaphor for our spirit, which is infinitely expansive and infinitely creative. And so when we see it that way, and when we start to see that the striving and the efforting, the problem solving, and even creating drama, when we start to see that as part of that expansive self that just always wants to create, whether it's creating what we would consider to be these beautiful magical experiences or all this drama, either way, it's just part of this infinitely creative beings that we are. And once you start to embrace that, and sometimes when I find myself getting wrapped up in the drama or wrapped up in these efforting cycles and thinking, this is who I am, this is all there is. And when I start kind of railing against it and I start forgetting who I am, which is a divine being having a human experience, I just remind myself. I'll say, okay, well, this is just part of the movie. This is just a plot twist, or just kind of laughing at myself in a very light way. Again, not a shaming or judgmental way. Oh, there I go again, creating some drama for myself. And so anyway, I hope you find this helpful. I intend that you find this helpful. And I'm doing a free offer right now where I call it the hero's journey, but it's really so much more than that. It's because I don't truly believe that our life, I think the hero's journey can be a helpful framework for seeing our lives, but I don't truly believe that our life is like what we would typically think of as a hero's journey with a very neat beginning, middle, and end. But I think seeing your life through this framework helps you to get just some more objectivity to it and to see yourself as so much larger than all of it, and really to kind of put yourself on top of it. And so instead of seeing yourself as the small limited being that's constantly just drowning in problems and obstacles and nothing ever seems to go right, and you just live in this very cold, chaotic, uncaring universe, which is how I felt for a long time. Instead, seeing your life as part of this integral, beautiful, interconnected whole. But at the same time, also just having some fun with it, seeing yourself as an avatar in an adventure. And I like to say the journey is just one chapter in your never-ending story. So anyway, all the details are in the description. Thank you very much for watching and have a wonderful day.